If at the start of last year you told me I'd be returning to China after the absolute mess that was my 2023 visit, I probably would have laughed in your face and asked what was mentally wrong with me. But here I am, packing my bags and getting ready to go back. So let's rewind a little to the beginning of my Chinese journey to figure out how I even ended up here. It was 2021, and if you've watched my Korean language vlog, you would know that I had started itching to lose myself in another language. And being from a very, very small town, I had limited options. One of them being Mandarin Chinese. I had a friend who is from Guangzhou, and so I thought it was perfect. I went to a weekly night class, and I didn't think much of it for a year. Until I started having some issues with my university classes and decided to change to a different university, wherein I could pick up a minor, and that minor could be Chinese. And I think it was at that moment that it really became more than just a passing interest. So I picked it up as a minor. I unfortunately studied via distance, so I didn't spend a lot of time actually speaking the language, but I did my best. And truthfully, like most people starting out with the language, I didn't really realize just how much work was ahead with studying Mandarin. So, how did I learn? Primarily, it was through my weekly night classes, which were hosted by a local university, and of course, by having Chinese as my minor through a different university. Those two were the bones of what I did, and they got me from HSK 1 to HSK 3. Besides that, I do a lot of gaming and Genshin with Chinese voiceover, watching vlogs, reading manhwa. These are all things that I have started to integrate now that I am past HSK 3. I would say I'm sort of in the boundary between 3 and 4 still. But I have become a lot more involved with the language. But without that foundation of the essentially university course and night course, I would not have been able to move on to these other things. And I will admit, my biggest struggle is absolutely speaking and listening, because it wasn't until the interesting trip of 2023 that I really spoke or heard Mandarin more than once in a blue moon. I'd been learning Chinese for 2 years by that point, and so when I got the opportunity to visit China, I thought, absolutely, why not? I thought it would be amazing. And to be honest, parts of it absolutely were. There are many good memories from this trip, but there are probably equal bad memories from this trip. Parts were so overwhelming, isolating, and it really left me doubting if I wanted to continue studying Chinese, let alone travel overseas again, especially practically on my own. Most of it was anxiety and the language barrier, but as always, there's more to that story than just that, and maybe one day I'll get into that, but not today. So, if you had asked me if I would go back to China, I probably would have said no. And truthfully, until about September last year, I didn't touch Mandarin. I was so burnt out from the whole experience that I just put it away. But I came back. Nothing in particular made me come back other than just missing the language and starting to perhaps see China through rose-tinted glasses, or perhaps I was finally able to see the good from the trip. Either way, I came back to the language. And so that brought me to 2025, where my teacher asked me to enter the Hanyu Qiao, which is the Chinese bridge competition. Not bridge like the card game, but a speech competition. And for once, living in the South Island of a tiny country worked in my benefit, because there was only 2 of us competing for this position of winner. and I won. So, what does that mean? That means I'm going back to China. I'm going to observe the World Finals. Actually, today, as this is uploading, I am on my way back to China. And that's crazy to me because it's like a chance to redo my last trip in China and sort of see if it was China or if it was me. Was it the people I was with? What made that last trip so bad, you know? And I think this time I'm a lot more prepared. I feel a lot more confident in my Chinese. I've spent the last year almost speaking far more frequently, and I think I'm ready to try again. So here's to a better adventure than last time, I suppose. Of course, I will be taking my camera with me, and I will be doing my best to document it, and I will be doing my best to speak Mandarin and live my life over there. I may only be at an HSK 3 to 4 level, and I'm absolutely going to be riddled with anxiety trying to speak Mandarin with people, but I'm going to try this time, and I have a feeling that it's going to work out better, and I can't wait to tell you guys how it does work out. So stay tuned. I'll be back in only 10 days, and I'll have something to tell you then. Thank you, dear reader, for listening as always.